And I made a whole career of figuring out how to build like lasting wealth so that here I am in my late 50s and we have enough money to last us for the rest of our lives as long as we make good choices.
Leisa Peterson is an author, mentor, and wealth mindset pioneer. From breaking free of scarcity to transforming lives worldwide, her journey shaped the movement of mindful abundance.
And that sort of decision or that opportunity, that privilege is not promoted enough for like what it takes to get there. Even if you say you don't want it or you don't think it's important, I'm here telling you that life changes. Life things can happen in life where you're like, wait a minute, I might not want to work.
What's up, everybody? This is Ryan Van Ornum back with another edition of Scaling Up Success podcast brought to you by Cynergists. Cynergist is your scalable operations company that helps you grow exponentially faster at a fraction of the cost. Go ahead and check out Cynergist.com for more information. Today, I have Leisa Peterson with the Wealth Clinic. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited. You have you run the gambit of so many awesome things that you got going on. So ready just to jump into it?
Yeah, that's great.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit more about, what Wealth Clinic is and how you've been shaping people's lives with it.
So I've had this coaching company for 11 years now. I walked away from my role as a financial advisor. Before that, I've worked with people in money for the past 30 years. I've made it a specialty, and my books are about this topic around what does it take to break free of a scarcity mindset and move into a more abundant way of living. Interesting enough, when I left my job as an advisor, I found out quickly that entrepreneurs were the ones who really wanted to know more about how to make these changes. And the more I learned and the more I shared, the more it took off. And I wrote a book in 2020 that came out during the pandemic called The Mindful Millionaire that has become a perennial seller. And I think the reason the book has been so successful, it's been published in India, going to be published in Brazil, is because it teaches people more about what's going on inside of the story that they have about money and how to actually change that story if it's not working for them anymore.
And, it's so important because it feels like, I know we didn't grow up being taught anything about finances or money or anything, or how like you can actually utilize, instead of being like held captive to money. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yes.
so there's such a different dynamic when you look at it in a different way. Would you agree?
100%. I feel like our culture is really focused on make more money. It's all about how much what is your business generating? How much is your salary? Like those are the conversations people focus a lot on. But when it gets complicated for many people is how do you keep what you're, a portion of what you're making? And then what do you do with it? Again, it's like a big leap where it's like, oh, you should just be an investor. And it's like, well, first you got to figure out how to keep that money to even be able to invest it. And I made a whole career of figuring out how to build like lasting wealth so that here I am in my late 50s and we have enough money to last us for the rest of our lives as long as we make good choices. And that sort of decision or that opportunity, that privilege is not promoted enough for like what it takes to get there. Because even if you say you don't want it or you don't think it's important, I'm here telling you that life changes. Life things can happen in life where you're like, wait a minute, I might not want to work like at this pace till I'm 80 years old. So yeah.
Right. You don't want to be on the hamster wheel your entire life. You want to be able to let your money work for you.
Yes, very much so.
So that now that you've been on this journey for a little bit, like what are you most proud of, like what's your most like pivotal moment of success that you've seen?
I would have to say learning how to communicate about money and money mindset at a very basic level is one of the things that I'll say mastered. And it was not easy because again, there are a lot of emotions that come up for us when people talk about money. And so I had to figure out how to get past the emotions and make it so people could actually learn something new, not just go back into their rote patterns. I'm most proud about that. So I'm most proud about my book. I have a new book out called The Money Catalyst. I did it again in that I wrote a fictional parable. A lot of people know the book The Alchemist, and they feel like that was, or the Bible. Like, I knew that if I could write in parable format, that maybe more people would understand what I'm trying to teach them, which is self-preservation, like taking good care of yourself as it pertains to money, because it is so important. I'm also proud that I started a company so much in my late 40s, that has, been so successful. That's also pretty impressive, because I didn't know. I knew how to use Facebook. Like 11 years ago, my kids were like, Mom, you can barely use your phone, much less start an internet-based company. So
That's amazing. And it's funny because it's like you're never too old to reinvent yourself. Would you agree?
yes, very much so.
And like one of the things that I see so much is like when you go down this path of like entrepreneurship, you don't know where it's going and you don't know how you're going to get there, but there's like these amazing like side quests almost. Like have you ever had one of these like just amazing opportunities that just fell in your lap because of, just opening up certain doors along the way?
It's interesting because one of the biggest ones was back when I first started my company. I was in line at the bathroom with Arianna Huffington, who started the Huffington Post. And we broke into a conversation. And by the time it was done, in our 3 or 4 minutes together, she invited me to start blogging on the Huffington Post. And I just started my company. And so talk about like, it was so out of the blue. I did not consider myself a writer. It took me 3 months to even just accept her invitation, because I kept trying to write and I was like, this is so bad. I don't know what I'm doing. And yet now I've published 2 books, like all because of meeting somebody in line at the bathroom. That's probably answering
And
your
I
question.
mean, you have glowing recommendations from like Bob Berg, like the author of The Go-Giver. Like it's amazing, seeing that growth and transformation that you've had.
Yeah. I'm still shocked when I go to Barnes and Noble and I see my book next to all these, like the best-selling money books of all time. I'm like, how did this even happen? Like, what? I wish more people knew that, like, if I could pull this off, I'm pretty sure people have the capability of doing so much more than they would ever believe.
I love that. And I love the positivity that you bring, across with the way that you just, your whole vibe is great. So as you continue to grow this thing out with your coaching business and as an author now, like how has like technology played a role? You said like, when you started this, you didn't know social media very much. Is technology helping you? Is it aiding you in different ways?
It has been a long road. I'm going through a transition of taking all of my different tech apps and bringing as many of them into one. And I put this off for a couple years. So, like, I have so much respect for what you do and anything regarding operations, because if you can find good partners to help you, it is like the lifeblood of a business when your operations are running. I have had great times and I have had difficult times. Recently, the reason I'm making the conversion is I realized that I was paying a lot more money for my platform than I needed to. And that evolution of technology had made it so that I could feel pretty safe having it all in one place rather than multiple different providers that charge a lot. And it's interesting because nobody tells you this. Maybe you tell your clients this, but like people, we get really stuck in ruts and we like stay with the same thing even though it's not good for us. So yeah, that's my like tooting your horn.
What
It's
it sounds
important.
like you had a toxic relationship with your former providers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. Well, yes, it just depends on the way that you look at it, but yeah, you can definitely find opportunities where like instead of trying to piecemeal it together and overpaying, you can find other operations that can do it all for in one spot. So totally can see where you're going with that piece of it. So like, as you've been able to build this thing out with your coaching, when you got started, I'm sure it wasn't like that you're working 10 hours a week and getting, like full-time pay, how did you manage to have like a work-life balance when you were building this thing out?
I had left the financial industry, which wasn't really what I would call work-life balance. And so it was time to like focus on my family and to
Yeah.
focus on my quality of life. But I did work a lot. And I think it went in spurts. It depended on whether or not I was setting really big goals for myself. The bigger the goals, the more time I had to invest in the business. Writing books is not for the faint of heart, especially I think back, I was running a business with like multiple employees and I was many clients and then writing a book on the side. I still don't know how I did it, but again, where there's a will, there's a way. But I definitely have gone through waves. I'll also mention my husband got diagnosed with cancer a few years ago, and my company was at the biggest it had ever been. And I realized that my heart wasn't in supporting the business that I had created in the face of him going through his challenges. And I decided to shut a lot of my business down. And what's interesting about it is last year I made more money working far less than I was at that time. And I feel like sometimes some of us entrepreneurs have to go through the extreme, back
Yeah.
away, and then come back in it from a fresh perspective to be able to do that. Work less, make more. I figured out how to do that.
That kind of, pushes me into the next question is like, as you kind of see the world of business kind of changing and sculpting in different ways, like what unique challenges are you seeing with your clients right now? Like, is there a reoccurring theme that you're seeing?
I think that my clients are in really, really good place right now. And so I don't know that they're a good subset of what's going on out
Because
there
you're
in
an
the
amazing
world.
coach.
Well, they've worked with me for a while and they've followed the advice and they've set themselves up. But I also want to focus on more of like the average coaching business is really struggling right now. Like between AI and like all the things that you can go to AI for, people might not go to a coach for the same reasons. I feel
Yeah.
like personal relationships are more important than ever before. And that's why my clients stay with me. But it's not easy to develop these relationships that you trust somebody at the level that you need to trust them. And
Yeah.
so I feel like that's one of the big problems right now, trust, figuring out how to build lasting, trusting relationships with your clients that are brand new to you. Like what's that going to take? That's the kind of thing that I think all of us could continue to learn more about.
Love that. Love that. So like, one of the things that we do on the Scaling Up Success podcast, we do a little rapid fire action. Are you ready to go quick with these ones?
Ready?
All right. So, are you an early bird or are you a night owl?
Early bird.
You're an early bird, getting up
Oh,
early.
yeah.
Do
Oh,
you have to
yeah.
do you have to set the alarm?
No,
No?
no, not. And when I'm working on a project, like 3:30, 4 a.m. is my go-to time. So if I'm really creative, then I just wake up at those times. But I'm also going to bed at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
Same, same. I'm like a 9:15 up at 4:45. So I love what you got going on there. So, do you have a favorite book that you're reading right now?
Favorite book I'm reading right now. What book am I reading right now? I'm finishing the Outlander, like
Oh, cool.
fun.
Cool.
Like that's what I'm right at the end. It's a really long book. It's taken me months. So
That's
there you
awesome. Very
go.
cool. Very cool. Do you, if you, this one's a little funny. If you had a superpower, what superpower would you want to have?
Predicting the future, like not predicting, but knowing the future, knowing exactly what's going to happen. I'd like
The ultimate prognosticator. I love
that.
it. I love it. Very cool. Do you have a bucket list travel spot that is still on your list?
A place that I haven't gone yet. I'd love to go to Thailand. I haven't been there
Nice.
yet.
Nice. Very cool. Do you have a podcast that you're listening to?
I just been listening to yours.
Yes.
Yes.
I
I
love
wanted
it.
to make sure and prepare. So yes, yours.
Scaling up success, baby. I love it. Awesome. Are you a coffee, tea, water, soda, energy drink? What are you drinking?
I love coffee, but I'm not supposed to have it. Definitely makes me hyper. So tea. We'll go for tea.
Fair. I like it. Very cool. What's on like your workout playlist?
Right now, there's a song called Stumbling In. That's for the summer. It's a redo, a remake of the old song, and it's really hip. But yeah, summer tunes right now because we're in the summer.
Very cool. And do you have like a favorite cheat meal?
Cheat meal?
Yeah. Yeah. Like your guilty pleasure meal that you would go to.
Okay. Anything with pastries in it. Yeah, I'm a pastry aficionado. Yes.
I love
Taster.
it. Very cool. Well, you made it through our rapid fire section. It's a little get to know piece of it that we do here on the Scaling Up Success podcast. Great job.
Thank you.
Awesome. So transitioning back a little bit here, like if you could give advice to younger Lisa, what one piece of advice would you give to her?
I would be obsessed about the idea of rooting out scarcity in the way that I think, in the way that I make decisions. I would want to understand how it's affecting me so that I could question the assumptions that got me there. That's probably why I write books about it. But the younger we can understand those patterns, the more joy we bring into our lives.
That's amazing. I love that abundance mindset type of look to it. Fantastic. That's awesome. Now, one thing that I kind of look at too is like we looked at a little bit of like, the advice going back to a younger version, but like looking 5 years in the future, what does that look like for you? The ultimate prognosticator superhero is going to come out of you right now.
I am living the most amazing life I could ever possibly imagine. So I'm just going to say I would love it to continue to be at this level where I get to work on projects and work with that I love, people that I enjoy being with, and spending time having cool conversations like this. Like, I don't want that to change.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm more than honored that you came on the Scaling Up Success podcast today. It's been a pleasure having you on, and thank you so much for your time today. It's been great. If people are interested in knowing more about you, your services, how to get a hold of you, order your books, how can they do that?
Going to wealthclinic.com/vision or moneycatalystbook.com are great ways to get access to the books. You could also write to me at lpeterson@wealthclinic.com. Happy to answer questions.
Awesome. And we'll link all of those in the comments down below. So Lisa, thank you so much for being a guest on the Scaling Up Success podcast today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Ryan.
Awesome. Once again, Ryan Van Ornum, Scaling Up Success podcast, brought to you by Cynergists. Go check us out at Cynergist.com. Thank you so much for coming on, Lisa. We really appreciate it. And everyone out there in the internet, thank you so much for tuning in. Until the next time, have a wonderful day.